into this morning's live. We'll have a lot to talk about. But right off the bat, I don't want anybody to panic just yet. I did sell for the moment, and I may just pick it back up. I don't know. I sold, well, we'll get into it. But I sold out of my positions that I had so that I could focus on this live because I didn't want to have to go back and forth in my own positioning. I was in XDC. I had IOTA, but I got rid of it just so I could focus on the live. On BitUnix, the fees are, like I said, they're minimal, so you can kind of get in and out. XDC was up closer to $800, but I don't necessarily think XDC's done yet. I just wanted to go over some of this stuff I've seen, but sometimes when I have a position open, I will over focus on something, especially when I'm reading stuff in the morning. So I want to kind of set it up. I want to set the stage in my own head so that I can see from a standpoint of, what is actually going on here. Because I know that 8 Bitcoin wallets that were dormant came back online for the first time in 14 years. And they have like 80,000 plus Bitcoin in them. I'll share a little thing I have in my email. But I want to evaluate everything because I think XDC is still okay. IOTA, will see if it can round. Because if I'm visualizing this right in my head, so if you have XDC, don't sell it. I just told the people in the Telegram I did, but I didn't say to sell it. I didn't say, hey, sell it. I need to evaluate this real quickly, and then I can decide if I want to just pick it back up where I was at, because it's doing very well right now. But this is what I'm thinking. And let me go over it real quick. And I have to do it from a non-biased perspective, so I can't have the positions and think about this. Otherwise, it's just going to feel like to me, oh, you're just saying this because you're holding the position, and that's why you. No, that's not what it's. So, what I think could happen is if these 8 dormant wallets are going to sell, wouldn't it be the perfect conditions to have a small semi-pump here going into going into Sunday, assuming that they hold out until the end of the weekend? Now, there is one thing that can make my opinion change on that. Let's just say for whatever reason XRP can't get over $2.24, and Bitcoin, we see it stuck in the mud, and this 20-day holds, and this is actually like a little head and shoulder, like a little, even in this little push up, instead of it being a bull flag like everybody was kind of thinking to start the weekend or to start 4th of July, what if this is actually a head and shoulders, and this is take the stairs up, elevator down, and this is the right shoulder. So left shoulder, quick head, right shoulder, down, you come to the uptrend real quick. Now, if that's the case, that would make it dangerous this morning, but we haven't seen that evidence in the 4-hour yet. It could even come up here to about 108,800 and get a rejection as well and stay within that resistance area, and that could also put it, oh, wait a minute, it's a little bit lower. Hold on. What the hell? It's not much lower, but it's gonna do us proud here because we need to see the exact number to start this Sunday. Even that, I don't like that still. What's going on here? Sorry, this has to be like on the nuts. There we go. So what is this number? Sorry, I have to be like dead on when I'm doing this kind of stuff. My eye on my left side, I can't see shit. So I've got to get close sometimes, get the proper angle. So 108,530. That's a big difference from 108,800. See, there's not much room there. So we need to see if we're going to break past here, if we're building into some kind of bearish bias here. That's what we have to see. That's what we have to see. So, oof. I want to see, it comes from early miners, but when you put that kind of, selling pressure on the market, it's going to be interesting. It isn't any coincidence that all of a sudden these miners now are putting this on there after that big, beautiful bill that's not so big and beautiful for crypto and risk assets. Is it like being finalized as we speak and has been? I mean, I think there's no coincidences in life. There's just a lot of, symmetry that works in unity, if that makes sense. But so from that perspective, I wanted to be I didn't want to have something tying me down. So I'm not saying it's the right decision, but you have to be in my position to understand why I do what I do. And the best thing I can do sometimes is go liquid with short-term movements. And you know what, there's another thing that I wanted to talk about And it's only recently that I've really discovered this. Since we moved up a little bit in our funds, I'm not saying we have the most money in the world, but with what we've done, in just the crypto space over since 21, instead of having like a 10x trade for, let's just say, $2,000 to have a $20,000 trade, well, now we can do $20,000 in a spot trade, or that's what I've been doing more. And because I had 400,000 XDC, and now I'm seeing the value of like a whale of a 2.5% move more. Like that 2.5% move for me, that made me about $800. That's a big amount of money compared to, well, actually it was a little bit more than 2.5, but you get the picture. There's like, I don't know, what was it, like maybe 3%, but I think you get the picture. Those micro moves now, and it was about 22 or 23,000 worth of XDC that I had bought. But it's the micro movement and not getting charged a lot in the fees on BitUnix. You can see the value, especially what the whales do, and you're like, well, I don't understand. They're putting all this money in, and then after 2-3%, they don't care. They're in and out, and that I see the value of it now. We were trying to attain that and leverage, and that's like the casino-like atmosphere that they pull over us. So don't fall victim. It's really that honest. Like, you can trade leverage, but don't do it for the get-rich-quick. Do it to, if you want to try to do something to keep it real or keep it fun, you can do that and then add additional things. But really, our goal should be, if we have $3,000 through spot, we should build it up to 20. And I'm starting to see the value also, and some of you can say you're full of shit or not. And I used to say this in the beginning, of not having 25 different things going to work. And if you're really just trying to swing trade, and you see a moment, like I've done this 3 times now in about a week and a half on XDC, and it's built my portfolio from about 25,800 to over 28,000 now. Just doing this 3 times in a row with XDC. And it's simply been, the one time it was like 6 point something percent. The one time it was 3 point something percent. And right now I probably sold myself short because it was in the middle of this movement. When I came out, I'm like, ooh, we got a big push here in the 4 hourly. And I'm waiting for a back test to happen still as well. So I still think it's going to come back down, and I could probably pick it back up at 604. But the thing is, you never know if you overshoot the gun. But it's either I bought it at the biggest parabolic spike there in the 4 hourly and I sold it, or I jumped the gun. And you can obviously see where my sell was. I sold it right here at 6228, and you can see where it dropped down. That's my sell. And then it ate it right back up. All I did in the algorithm is I could have jumped on it. So that was probably just my sell. So you can obviously see where I sold. And I put it in the Telegram right after I did it. But it had already bought it back up because it was in the 1 minute. So I felt good about telling everybody because the price was basically back to where I sold it. So, you just got to connect the dots and then you can see things. So that's been my thinking this morning. And I wanted to push that message too of like, instead of leverage trading, try to build it through spot. And yeah, it takes time, but all we have is time here. All we're doing is time every single day. So as the crowds become smaller and the micro movements in crypto, I promise you, watch what happens the next time it drops and we end up getting on the next big rally. Unfortunately, when there's 86 people here, when they need to be here right now, because there's a lot of things that are about to happen that are going to catch people off guard big time. And like we're seeing the breadcrumbs being fed to us as we speak. And we have the philosophy here that the elite, even though we're not part of the club, me, you, we're not part of that big, beautiful club or the big, ugly schematic club that you really don't want to be a part of. We're on the outside looking in, but I believe these entities feed us crumbs and they get off on the fact that some of us actually do succeed. And I think that's part of the big game. They want a few of us scrimlings, and they need to see a few of us get by because that's how the vulture feels good. Hey, we might be vultures, but really aren't we giving them the same equal advantage? They just have to work much harder because they're not on the in. And the fact that XRP stood at 222 for this entire time, right at 222 like that, staring me in the face, it's like the angels are preaching through me right now. But that's the truth. I believe they feed us the crumbs. And right now, what's the crumbs? The big, beautiful bill that we know is not that bullish for crypto. It's just not. Crypto's a risk asset, and that bill creating more artificial inflation, creating more artificial money, de-dollarizing the US dollar. That's not typically good for risk assets. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't mean we can't rally up a little bit more and finish off these moves. But what I am saying is all ends meet eventually. And the only thing that's going to open these gates for us is when they do quantitative easing in a real way, not through a big, beautiful bill, but real quantitative easing with rate cuts, which will be detrimental to this country. But for the risk of what we're trading in crypto on one part of it, because we also do precious metals, gold and silver, mining stocks, because they're the cheapest way to pull the gold and silver out of the ground. From that aspect, they're risk on, risk off. That's why we've been doing phenomenal in that field. And crypto, however, we're going to need some kind of big catalyst, and it's going to come. I firmly felt it's going to be at the end of Q3, and they're going to set the stage, and they already are. So with all that stuff being considered, it's like I'm trying to make us that micro movement and the micro gains, because that's all you can really do in these moments. Like, I don't want to ever be tied down in a market in a big way, you know, more than just, hey, I see this swing. We could see against XRP that XDC was going to gain ground, and it did. And that's why I have the XDC XRP. But I focus on that more because it's one that's not being talked about as much. So, like, we can get in, do what we got to do, and get out before the business even settles. You know, and then we're sitting back. Like, I feel great this morning. I'm sitting here saying, wow, this was almost an $800 night into the morning. And now I can kind of see, and it's like, I'm going to present this to the audience without having to worry so much, you know, about what's happening personally. And I don't have to be, I don't know, there's something to it. So these are the transfers that happened. And we'll get into this. These are the transfers that happened. And these are the amount of Bitcoin. From the time I took this, it was 3 hours. But it's probably been a little bit longer now. But that's the amount of Bitcoin. Now, it kind of looks like it's going to probably be a similar entity if you ask me. But the fact that 8 different wallets, they probably just separated it in 8 different wallets to keep it separated because of the amount of money. But who knows? Who really knows? But the fact that the amount are essentially the same leads me to believe there's going to be one big sale. There's going to be one big sale when it happens. And the fact it's going to be one big sale, we're going to have to watch for it. Because 80,000 Bitcoin is going to make some more. It's going to be a move. It's going to be a move. And then, what was the other one? So, this is something that somebody wrote down that I had screenshotted. Fuck, I can't remember who it was. But they wrote it down so I wouldn't have to write it down again. So they said for the first time in 14 years, 8 old Bitcoin wallets have been activated in the past 24 hours. They transferred a total of 80,009 Bitcoin worth approximately $8.69 billion. It started with 4 wallets which sent 40,000 Bitcoin, around 4.35 billion. Later, 2 more joined in, each transferring 10,000 Bitcoin, bringing the total to 60,000 Bitcoin. Then 2 additional addresses were activated, completing the series of transfers. All of this Bitcoin was originally received back in 2011 when the price ranged between 78 cents and $3.37 per token. So here's my question. The fact that it's so cheap, why now? They must be expecting some serious drastic movement to the downside. Just hear me out. They've got to be expecting some big movement to the downside, because holding it for that long, there's no reason to really sell it if you think it's in a big uptrend. Right now, you wouldn't be panicking to put it up. But it's not like they just put a few thousand. They put 80,000 Bitcoin total. That's a lot of Bitcoin, you know, by the end of it. And then 4 other wallets of the same age remain inactive. This is the largest movement of funds from so-called sleeping wallets in a long time, and the crypto community is in a panic. Who's behind this? But this could obviously, it could be a ploy, but it leads you to have speculation, and that's why I speculated with myself and said you got to have a clean slate here. But I also do believe that there could be a pump here. That's what I want to discuss here. Why I want it to be, if there's something bought, I want to do it with the community is the point. Because I also believe there could be a pump here, because wouldn't they want to have a nice little pump walking them out the gate? And it's easier to sell the dormant Bitcoin when the market's actually pumping you know, because they're going to have to sell out a lot, $8 billion at the end of it. So you're going to have some kind of pumping price. Now, would that mean the altcoins would have a nice little surge here? Or are we being told all we need to be told because we keep getting... I don't know. That's what I want to discuss with the audience. So with that being said, good morning. 10:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, July 5th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan, and that's something I've been doing better. I've been trading with the audience, not for the audience, if that makes sense. A great thing going on in Telegram where we talk a lot about these trades. If you're not part of it, you're really not part of it. I wish you were, but we've been doing some really good things here. And we've been talking in the group trading. We did a thing. We had 22 votes. Would you buy today Algo XDC? So the group made the perfect decision yesterday. And anybody who was at XDC, and it's still moving. And I talked about the I don't know. We just had good talks here about XDC and things like that. And then when I talked about the XDC, what I talked about yesterday. But we've talked about some good things here lately. So I wish more of you were in there. I do. I wish more of you were in there. There's 400 plus people, I think, getting close to in the Telegram. Hell, I should look. I just looked. But I'm starting to turn it into something deeper because I want to trade with, not 363 people. 363 people. So, you know, I'm proud of everybody who's in there and what we've created in there. Now, let me say hi to some of you. I know there's 116 people in here, 114 people. I'm glad to see a lot of you in here. For the ones in Tom's Army, I gratefully and eternally am grateful for all of you. For the ones who sent YouTube super chats and things like that, I can't thank you enough because it really helps me put this content out for free. And from the ones who are in Tom's Army and the ones who actually do YouTube super chats, which I know there hasn't been a lot lately, but there are still a significant amount of people in Tom's Army, at least, you know, what you can see. You allowed me to make the website and things like that free, and, you know, it's almost to where I want it to be. I can't quite get this last step done because I'm an idiot. But eventually I'll be able to figure out this live part of it. But yeah. Anyhow, let's get to this because I think there's an opportunity presenting itself as a group. And like I said, XDC I don't think is done, so I probably sold myself short. But I wanted to come into it from a perspective of we're trading with, not for. So here we go. Shane, welcome in. Good morning to you, my friend. Good job with the XDC trade, Shane. Love it. Kryptonian, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Crypto Plumber, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 2+ months with the second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Omar, good morning, and thanks for being one of the newest members in Tom's Army with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens, as that is my face superimposed on there. I kid you not. JBHK, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted mod, my friend from the Netherlands. Been in Tom's and this community for a very, very long time, going back to the early days. UK Phil, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with I Told You So badge. I got a crown win yesterday on Fortnite, a couple wins. The season's not horrible. This season's not horrible. It reminds me a lot of the Peter Griffin season, to be honest. I think that was like, what was that? Chapter 5, maybe? Yeah, I think it was Chapter 5, Season 1. Something like that. Or Season 5, Chapter 1, I should say. Let's see. Michael, good morning to you, my friend. Yes, make sure to hit that like button, everybody. John Hall, welcome in, my brother. I'm glad to see you here the day after 4th of July. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for the continued support, my friend. I love it. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon badge. Oh, Tanya, there's so much to talk about today. That's why I kind of got it off, a lot of it, like 15 minutes worth, before I even got to say hi to anybody. I wanted to kind of go through what I was thinking. And I wanted to very quickly say, hey, with XDC, when I first came out, I'm like, hey, I'm not telling you to sell it yet because I think there's still more. It's just, you know, I don't even know what I was thinking. I wanted to keep my mind clear, but when I came out, I'm like, what are you doing? that's one of those things. Like, but we'll see. We'll see what the market has to do in store. So now we sit and we look at this. See if it can get up to that 6.4. Where we at 6.25. Maybe we can get up to there, because that's technically the move that should have on it. The only question is does it come down and back test and then push out? So hopefully it just, we give it grace a little bit on the weekends, especially Saturday and Sunday. We say we'll let our fellow peers, instead of them waking up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll give them until about 10:30, an extra hour, because, we like to sleep in. I don't personally. I like to get up at 7 every single day. I think today I got up closer to 8, but I still like to get up early. So look, I even slept in an hour. See that? Because I don't have to walk to the gym today. I don't work out in the gym on Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, I'd be obsessed. So Monday through Friday is what I'm allowed. That's my allowance. Let's see. Big Dog and Alec Tony, thank you both for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Love it. Good morning to both of you. Crypto Cooter and Joseph Euler, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Moo Moo Bang Bang Boy says, sunny days ahead, Tommy. Yes, indeed. Very well might have a sunny days later today. Later on. Jorge, welcome in. That very, very trusted mod. Thank you for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Says, hello, people, hello, Tom. Happy 4th of July weekend. Yes, happy 4th of July to everybody. I hope you made it with all your limbs, fingers and toes included. Happy 4th of July weekend. Everyone, from one fellow Canadian, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to Tom's channel for the best tea on YouTube. Thank you for that, and happy belated Canada Day to all of you. It was just a few days ago. I know I said it to you guys before, especially in the Telegram, but happy belated Canada Day, whatever that means now. Like 4th of July just did not have the same symbolic meaning to me this year, even less than any other year. I didn't even really watch the fireworks, to be honest. There's just a somber feeling. I have this uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach to where I felt like while we were celebrating Independence Day, we were actually losing even more of it. So I was staying vigilant, and I worked hard to make abundance for me and my community, even on 4th of July, because I feel like something bad's coming in a very big way. Strider, welcome in. It's the weekend. Wait for Monday. Yep. You're not wrong about that. There are micro movements that happen on the weekend, but now you start to get into that Saturday to Sunday, so you're really working down that last 10 hours of potential here into the Sunday candle and the weekly candle coming to a close tomorrow night. 80,000 comes from early miners. Indeed they do, Messi. Indeed they do. The way it's set up, too, you can tell that that's likely got to be the case. Like, there's no other reasoning. Truth, Bitcoin is BSV. From your keyboard to the ears of the ones who are listening. Truth also says, Terranode release open source July 1st. Original white paper author Craig Wright as Satoshi Nakamoto. Opens wallet and sent to exchanges 80,000 Bitcoin to cash out on July 4, 2026. Because the original Bitcoin I mean, you never know. Craig Wright is not Satoshi, and that was proven during a lawsuit here in Florida a few years ago. Oh, they're never going to tell you who it is, but I believe Satoshi is the U.S. government. I think it's just, I don't know, that's just something that I think, but all these people inevitably probably work within. But I don't want to get on that track. I want to stay on this nice even. I feel like this is a nice, I like the vibe. I like the vibe here. Hell, I like my own vibe today, too. Wales, Josie Wales, good morning to you. Says, morning, Outlaws. Welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. No, truth, the wallet doesn't lie. That's why I said from your keyboard to anybody who's willing to listen. Let's see. Excellent advice, Tom. Hey, I love it. Thank you. Yeah, with XDC, I don't think it's necessarily there's going to be a moment here when it's going to do what it's going to do and go back to that support. But as of right now, everything looks great. You know, it doesn't look bad in any regard, in my opinion. Not yet. And I can say that from an unbiased perspective because I'm not in it right now. Now I'm just waiting for that 1 minute to go just because of people are going to wake up and start reading the news. So, I'm just waiting for one of those moments. It hasn't happened yet, and you guys can, for the most part, thank me for that sell. I allowed the algorithm to continue to move up. I know it sounds stupid, but it's true. It needed sell pressure to continue the build, and I gave it $22,000 or $4,000 worth of sell pressure. Let's see. True, Satoshi Nakamoto opens wallet and sent to exchanges. 80,000 Bitcoin out on July 4th because the original Bitcoin is BSV on Terra would prove me wrong. You can't really prove you wrong, nor can we prove you correct in this space. I like your outward approach. I do. You're putting it out there. Ben, good morning. Dennis, good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for the hello to me and the family. I hope everybody else is doing great. And I hope, at least right now, you're able to find some peace and comfort in where we're at right now. Right now we're just talking back and forth because I'm trying to get a general vibe. But I'm telling you, once we get deeper into this right now, because we've looked at it a little bit, but wait until we get into some of these charts, and we're going to look at how XRP is kind of sandwiched in the middle here, and how Bitcoin's sandwiched in the middle, and like, this domino effect, I really don't believe that big, beautiful bill is anything but big and... I believe it's anything but big and beautiful for risk assets. And I hate to be so direct, but I really believe it's not good for risk assets. Like, it's not good to further inflate this money supply if you're talking about a risk asset. It's not good to further dilute the people's pockets. Like, by doing this, it's going to make things even more and more and more expensive for us. Like, do you know against the euro... And nobody talks about this. The euro was up like 15% against the US dollar. It's up to like 115. I know we got a lot of people in the Eurozone here, which means anything we transport from Europe or the UK, for fuck's sake, like anything that comes in from we're not exporting. So anything we're importing is going to be, to us, 15% more in the store. How many of your favorite brands are from the UK? I know there's a lot of them now in the USA that we actually like the UK brands for some reason now. Not saying that you guys in the UK are weird. I'm just saying we don't go around calling everybody a cunt in the USA. And, that's predominantly normal over there, which was a shell shock to me. The first time Tanya called me one, I'm like, wait a minute, what? If a woman's calling me, my female audience is calling me a cunt? What the hell is going on? So there's shell shocks here, but literally. So now when we get the stuff from the UK, we really do feel like the cunts. Now we're paying 15%. Our US dollar's at 97. Yours is at 115 against the US dollar. Like, don't we feel like small little ones? Like, it makes you really look at things differently. Like, what is a cultural norm here is a real shell shock to some, and what's a shell shock to you is a cultural norm to us. Like, we are a bunch of idiots here in some way. We've really turned into I'm not going to get deeper, but it's weird. So... the power of social media, my point here is the power of social media. Look how much we know now. Like, we've got to put it in perspective here. It's not just the USA. It's not just Europe. It's not just China. It's not just the Asian countries or the African countries or the Mediterranean countries or any of the. It's not. It's really not. Like, when you put it all together, you start to see it like, holy shit, we're in some trouble here. Like, so what's the universal language here? It's certainly not crypto, like as far as a store of value, because I'm sorry, but somebody who predominantly doesn't have a lot of electricity, they're not going to be able to even sustain any kind of movement with the crypto wallets. So what do? They sit here and they go, holy crap, I'm going to make a ton of money in crypto if they have the ability. And I'm going to store it in something that I know no matter where I go, no matter what I do, I can automatically spend this. Hell, if I go to Venezuela and take a gold bar, assuming I don't get shot or somebody steals it, which is just like any other money, which is why I stay home. But in your own backyard, even, you can take that store of value and be like, I don't care what, like, for me, the best thing that could ever happen is the US dollar goes down, and it's so weird. And when you're on that side of the trade, you're like, well, wait a minute, Tom. If the US dollar goes down, my crypto would probably go up just by virtue that the US dollar is worth nothing and the price on the screen is going up. I'm getting more dollar value, but it's worth less when I'm spending it. But see, to the general person, until it hits that 50-50 threshold to where all of a sudden you get punched in the face like Venezuela when you get to a point when you're walking out with wheelbarrows and you're like, well, wait a minute. I bought this stock for $5,000 and it's worth $5 million, but Jesus Christ, I can't even buy a loaf of bread for this $5 million. But if I would have just put it into gold and silver along the way, I could buy the whole damn vendor for this same amount, you know? And it's like, well, what are they teaching us? Why are they teaching us? Or why, for that matter, why are they not teaching us? That's the power of understanding. That's the power of knowledge. And that's why I take satisfaction in the fact we might not have as many people here as other audiences. I haven't seen a day where we're under 100 people in a long time in the live, which is truly profound. Hey, we finally went over 44,700. We've been stuck at that for 3 weeks. Look at that. Look at that. We finally had a surge here. And you know why? Because people were probably happy about a little bit of movement in XDC or whatever. Get a micro movement. But anyhow, I hope that message is heard. Like, really heard. Wow, did that really happen? Somebody rejoined Tom's army during my little spew. And thank you, Ben. And this is a good thing, too, because Ben is back in Tom's army. But it still shows 6+ months for the XRP predictor. Even if you're part of Tom's army and you're gone for 1 month, 1 year, infinity, and you come back, you start off from where you left. I have a choice, and I check that box because I want people to continue their streak where they left off. So thank you, Ben, for coming back and being in Tom's army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. You have made me the happiest person in the world today by rejoining and being back in Tom's army. Wales, Josie Wales, thank you so much for the $9.99 donation. Truly going above and beyond, because you also have been in Tom's army for well over 1 year. Thank you so much. He says they need liquidity to exit unless it's a paper IOU. And that's the friggin' problem. What are the odds that it's a paper IOU? Just hear me out. In that, I don't want to say this is what's happening, but what's the odds that these companies like Michael Saylor, when they are selling common shares, what's the odds that they're getting paper IOUs of Bitcoin while they're using those common shares to pay back the money they bought to front run Bitcoin initially for the US government, and now they start giving them the paper IOUs so that they can actually pay back the government, but they also store it with companies like MicroStrategy because they're just an off branch of the government. I mean, that's one of the things that I always wonder. Is that stupid? It might be. But that's something that I'm starting to wonder, in the same way that XRP branched off with Jed McCaleb into XLM because they simply had too much unilateral support from the public, and it was kind of ruining the game to where there was too much exposure. So they created XLM as this side cultivating part for retail. So that, and then they pushed some of the money. So instead of having like a, you know, let's just say a illegal movement of money through the black markets, they created XLM and they moved a significant amount, split off Jed McCaleb with the same kind of technology in a different sense. And now they also got to swindle some money somewhere else, and that wasn't to be debated in this whole lawsuit either. So, I mean, there's all these microcosms of what's going on in this market. But I think we're getting somewhere in a sense that I think all the pieces are here for a reason. Like I said, I really do believe the elite put the breadcrumbs out so that the little guys like us, and I think they get off on the fact that a few of us actually figure it out. So now that we're putting this in perspective, would it make sense or would it not make sense? I'm asking you one more time. Yes or no, does it make sense to have a pump here to get these wallets out? Because you're going to, unless it is all paper trade right now, but that would mean altcoins would have to go up somewhere between 4 and 12%, in my opinion, from here. Like from here, which would mean XDC goes up and finishes this move probably up to a range like 6.48, and that would mean XRP would come back and tap probably 229 to 234 at minimum. At minimum. And then you'd have something like IOTA would do the move we talked about yesterday, and it'd have this reversal, and then this would make that move, and it would have that upward movement. See the W reversal. So this is what I'm asking, because I'm going to ask my audience what they think. And I'm going to buy something on air if we can come to agreement, and I'm going to ride it. If we can't come to an agreement, I won't ride it. Remember, my loss yesterday was at 0.148 is what I thought was worth riding on XDC. Now it's different. You can actually do it from a different point. See this W153? You could theoretically ride that. Well, not in the 1 minute. You're not going to do it. Hold on. I knew this would build up here bigger than just the 1. But I got to put it into like the 30. Oh, yeah. See, perfect. So you could even be like, okay, Tom, I'm with you. We can ride XDC until 153. And to me, that's a nice descending consolidation. Yeah, why not? That's one of them. And like I said yesterday to Shane, I think XDC and IOTA were the two, and H-bar, there's a couple, but IOTA in particular with XDC are ones we should have looked at. So, like I said in the beginning, don't sell your XDC just because I did what I did for the sake of this next programming thing. It's been doing me a lot better, and it's been bringing a lot more closeness with the community because now we're not trading with, or you're not trading on my information. I'm not trading at you. We're trading with each other now because I think that's the most valuable thing. So right now we're talking about IOTA. XDC, obviously, that's a good trade. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. So glad to have you in here, my friend. Nick, good morning. Welcome in, sir. I know from a perspective, I'm glad to see you in here because the other one I want to talk about is Filecoin, Nick. Because from the same lines we're talking, couldn't we argue that that's an exhaustion phase if this pulls back up for one last attempt to see whether we're bearish or bullish up here at 235? Assuming that this exhausted itself. Now, you won't see it as much in the 30, but in the 4-hourly sense, it could be exhausting itself because you're getting these higher lows as well every step of the way. So we had the low here, and then you had a low, higher low, as it. So in a sense, this could be exhausting itself to where you pop up even higher than just the downtrending resistance and try to push back up on what looks like an inverse head that's set up. Now, if that's a bear flag, it could come down one more layer. That's why I haven't targeted necessarily Filecoin yet, because in a sense, you could say that looks ugly, but we're waiting for that rounding. So we're paying attention to that. It's kind of the same thing with Theta. AMP yesterday, I wasn't willing to buy, even though it did come up. And as Tanya said, it kind of fucked people over yesterday. But yes and no, because it did break out, but it hasn't back tested yet. So you always have to be aware of that back test at 3.2. It's the same thing I'll say with XDC that we said as well. Yes, it looks great, and it looks like it could front run all the way to the top. But just be aware at some point, it might bounce up to the resistance first. We're going to have to back test this. I don't know when it's going to happen because it looks great right now. So there's really no panic yet. The only time I'd really be concerned is if it came below 6.2 right now. If it came below 6.2, I'd be like, you know what? That was a pretty quick reversal. Laugh out loud, sell XRP. I don't know who said to sell XRP, but I don't know. Welcome in Hayek from Croatia. Good morning. So what are we thinking this move stops for XDC since I have this trade on BitUnix I can buy and sell it at? I know, isn't that great? I think this next step of the move, and if I didn't go live today and I wasn't trying to reset something up, I would have just let it ride past here. Probably see if it came up to my first area, which was around 637 after. 637 is probably the targeting area I'd be looking at. But obviously this resistance, if it just shoots past it at 647. The only question is right now, you're coming to this first real area. Not quite there, but you are kind of getting there. But you got to make a decision there because remember what we were talking about yesterday too. There's a cup that it's working on up here. Ultimately, it's 694. So theoretically, you could ride it and just stay in it until it broke past the level that made you uncomfortable. And right now, like if it's over 6.2, I don't see a problem. Now, obviously, you're giving back a little bit, but I mean, it's percentages. It's micro percentages. So I don't know. It's a tricky spot here because even IOTA, I look at and I want to say, okay, this is the spot where you could take a chance, but with this kind of a setup, you know, it could fall through and have to retest. I don't know. It's just like with XDC, you'd have to take a shot. You know, and yesterday we talked about that 148 so that it wouldn't make a low that's lower here because we were like, oh, we made a low here, came around and consolidated, then came back down before it shot back up. So then it made another low, but it was higher than this one, then shot back up. And so far, Because this one shot up and it made it here, but this is where it's tricky. Because if this is a bear flag here, well, then it's invalidated immediately because it's just going to shoot down here. That's why I've chosen to sit here and be like, you know what, I'm just going to watch it here. And the meat on the bone on XDC is good for the ones in it. And then we can talk unbiasedly, or, non-biasedly here where people aren't fucking panicking. Crypto Bob, welcome in. And thank you so much for the $2 donation as well. He says, hey, Tom. Hi, all. Always a pleasure, everyone. It is indeed. I just can't believe it's already been 40 minutes. And today, I'm going to my dad's tonight. He's coming back in town and he wants to spend a couple days at his house. So I'm going to my dad's house this evening. And I'm going to spend the night there with Julie. And then tomorrow, we're probably going to spend the night there again and come back sometime earlier Sunday. Probably early afternoon, mid-afternoon. So my updates and stuff will be from his office. You guys remember that earlier in the year. So go away to his house for a few days. He's about an hour away. Somewhere around an hour. 45 minutes if there's no traffic. So that'll be nice. Sologenic up 5%. Excellent. There is good in what's called the BBB. No, there's speculation that it's good, but I'm speculating it's not. I just don't believe it is. I think short term, it obviously brought good stuff, which wasn't a surprise because we expected this volatility and we made some money off of it. But I think long term, I don't know. I have this very bad feeling. It reminds me of 2021. I can't explain it. And the good thing is we haven't gone through alt season technically yet. XRP absolutely went through its own little alt season in a sense, and it's still living the dream. I don't know. I got this feeling in the pit of my stomach that says, listen, asshole, you know where we're at right now. You know what you're doing. The fear and greed's up to like 73, Tom. I don't know if that's true. That could have been a figment of my mind. I had some weird dreams last night, is all I'm going to say. I've had some weird dreams, and the one yesterday was so weird. So weird. Let's see. Because it's all this stuff culminating, and I have this thing with sleep paralysis that I have since I was a kid. I haven't had it in a few months, but it's a lot of people fear it, but it's not really worth fearing. Like, if you can get through it, it has meaning. No, there's not a demon on you. It's not that. It's your mind playing tricks. 67. Let's see. Basically what it is your body wakes up, or your mind wakes up before your body, so you're paralyzed. But it's deeper than that, but I don't want to really get into it. 68 on some of, what the fuck? Index. We'll just go to coin market cap, I'm assuming. Let's see. 51 here. I personally like this one the best. 67, that's what I'm going to put it at. So it was at 73 yesterday. 67 today. So yeah. We're getting up there. We're getting up there. And don't forget about xrpfuturemillionaire.com. It's the website I put together. Hell, you don't even have to go to TradingView because I have every single chart known to man, and it's a live API. So this is 24/7. There's news and notes. I mean, it's everything that you're going to want on here is going to be on here. The only thing that I don't have on here that I would like is I wanted scrolling news that was going on, but I haven't got to there yet. But like even with the indicators, I always say put the MACD on when you're doing this by yourself. Trust me, especially if you don't know as much, because then you can see the money flow. You want to see, or you want to just see the way it's moving. And into this, for the most part, we're still pulling positive. Look how much it's declining though. Typically, when you decline like that, you're flipping. If you don't get a big surge here, we're technically flipping towards that sell. So that's why we're coming to the point where we're gonna have to make a decision here, one way or the other. And if there is going to be a big sell-off, it's certainly showing the rapid decline here in the money flow and in the positive, or at least the positive volume flow. So, and then I would just tell you if you're by yourself as well, put the RSI on. Just put the RSI. You can put the divergence indicator. I would just tell you to put the relative strength index. That's it. You can put the stochastic, but I would just put the relative RSI. see the way it's working. You can see a head and shoulders possibly building here in the RSI price act, or the trend line is coming up to meet the price action. But it looks like we could have put in a head and shoulders, and if that breaks through the yellow trend line, we're reversing bearish. So that's just something to pay attention to. Last time we did this and topped out in a sense was back in 2021, and we ended up coming back down to about 40 in retrospect. And then with the when you couple it with the moving average divergence or convergence divergence, the MACD, you can see the fact that we're really flowing in that volume is coming back very strongly back down. Yes, the price action is steadied, but we need to have some kind of positive flow. That's what we need, is a nice positive. We need a positive flow. And until we get a positive flow, we can't really do much. So that's the two suggestions I would make for you to put on for the indicators. And it makes it nice and easy there. So let's see with XRP. And it makes sense to come back up because we fell back below. Wouldn't it make sense to come back up and at least tap that resistance at 224? Even if it was bearish at 224.5. So there should be a little bit of upward volatility here right now. How far is the question? I don't honestly know. Because I don't know if we're going to get that sell pressure. So let's see what everybody's saying. Axel, good morning and welcome. And Axel's been here for a very, very long time. Actually, probably since pre-1,000 subscribers on YouTube, honestly. Oh, if XDC is breaking out in the handle, it's going to get over that next layer of resistance. You're going to have to back test it at some point to confirm it. Which, that's what I'm hoping is happening. But we're going to have some kind of confirmation. And you're going to see it. I don't know when it exhausts itself, but you're going to see probably a violent shakeout back down to 606 to retest. You could retest this area since it did come down from 617 back down to 60 area. You could retest it back down in here even. Maybe it has a violent shuffle back to 616 from wherever it's going, but it's going to confirm itself one way or the other. It could even come up a little bit higher still. That's why I was saying we could find ourselves meeting this area up here before it does any kind of violent reshuffle. But it very well could be getting to that point where we break out of this. That's 100% on point. That's what I was trying to play towards. Honestly, that's the play that I was trying to play towards. But everything has been going well, so I hope everything's been blessed with you, my friend. It's been a crazy journey on YouTube. We just went over 44,800 subscribers. And it's been nice, there's been a lot of shadow banning. Believe it or not, my content piece from yesterday got taken down. I don't even know what I said yesterday. I don't know what I said in the update yesterday that would have got it removed. But that content, if you're wondering, it got removed. So that's why I didn't even bother trying to do a live last night when everybody, the party ended and things like that. There was no point. So I figured we'd start fresh today. I really don't know what I said yesterday. Did I say something bad in the the update yesterday? I don't remember. I mean, I know some of them that got taken down. Obviously, I said something stupid. But I don't remember saying anything bad in that yesterday. That's the one that's the mind-boggling one. Because I don't honestly know what I said. It didn't give me a strike. But I don't know what I said that was bad that would have got it taken down or had people complain about it. But hey, I don't know. Lonzo, it's going to be massive something this year to the upside. Is it this quarter or fourth quarter? And our bot, I believe Q4 and Q1. I believe that too. I think it's more likely that we have that big explosion. It'll be like last year, how we had it at the end of the year into the early next year. It's always usually happens, believe it or not, around the pumpkins. When you start to see the pumpkins is when you can start expecting that last big drop. But when you should be looking at the real big buy accumulation. And then after the pumpkins are gone, into November, kind of like turkey season, we start to see into that whole leading up to the time of giving thanks, where we really give thanks, all right. But yeah, it seems to happen all the time. Alec Tony says, I have sleep paralysis too. It is. It's not the greatest feeling. But, it's funny. When do you always wake up? When you stop trying to wake up, right? Because you let your body settle back in. That's what I've come to find. But I'll never forget the first time it happened. I was at my cousin Chris's house with my Aunt Kathy and Uncle Billy. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. And I thought I was having an asthma attack. And I was sleeping and I was having a dream that we were driving in a car and we were going up and down a hill and I couldn't breathe. Like the car was going up and down. And I still remember this. I was like 6 or 7 and I couldn't breathe. Well, I didn't think I couldn't breathe. And I couldn't wake up either. So I'm thinking I'm like dying. You know, when I woke up, I took a big gulp of air and everybody's thinking I was having an asthma attack. So then, you know, when I went to the doctor, they gave you an inhaler and stuff. So I'm getting treated for an asthma attack as if I have bad asthma. And it turns out all these years later, I don't even think I have asthma. I haven't had an inhaler in decades. And, you know, I think that was just a good way for them to make money off of me. And that's what I mean. Like, the doctors are just that. So I don't want to get into that, but it wasn't even an asthma attack, you know, it was sleep paralysis. So, but yeah. But anyhow, we can get deeper into that. But I want to talk about IOTA right now because I think I'm going to take a shot here with IOTA. And it's a small one. If it comes below 15, 16, done. I'm taking a small shot. If it comes below 15, 151, I won't have it anymore. How about that? How about them custodian marbles? What's that? Ooh. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, FYI. With IOTA, as long as it stays above the 151, I'm riding it. And I'll tell you how many tokens that I will be riding it with in a second. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for good or bad. We will see what happens. But I am going to try to see what happens here with IOTA. First layer would be 151. Second layer, if you want to hold it to that head, 148. But I believe if the 151 comes down, the reason I'm saying this is because if this invalidates this little pull here, and Nick knows what I'm talking about, this is giving you like this wind-up motion. So if this happens, you're almost guaranteed a nice little progressive move here. But nothing's guaranteed. But a progressive move into the inverted shoulder. Because I believe this is building up a little bit of volatility to the upside. I think that's a great sign what's happening. So Shane, don't you go anywhere in that position. And now for everybody who's in here, I'm deleting my message in the swing trading group because if you're in here, you're in here. If you're not, you're not. But I don't want anybody to have the wrong impression about selling and doing things like that because I've explained why I did what I did. And now we go from there. So XDC, we'll see what happens. I mean, IOTA. And then with XDC, you know, you ride that until you get below 6.2 at least. Or when you feel that massive uptick, you know, in this range is the first area you pay attention to. So with the understanding that at some point you could come back across and retest the area. But that's where I'm at right now. Now, if it comes below 151 on IOTA, which it could fall through very quickly, that's what I'm looking at. So they took IOTA away from U.S. purchasing in California. Maybe we're too close to the amount, to the smart cities they want. Oh, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. In a place like California, where literally you're like the epicenter for all of this. That is crazy. Because IOTA is a big part of the Internet of Things, which will attach not only the digital currency and the digital information and coding into the smart products and smart cities and smart housing and smart, all of it. But IOTA, Theta, and Filecoin have a big play with all of that. I argue, to me, IOTA is the most desired one at 15 cents. I really don't care what anybody else says. Imagine down the road you saying, hey, I bought IOTA at, yeah, there might be too many tokens still for what IOTA does because it's, but they all, I argue, might have too many tokens. Julie rolled a joint. How awesome is that? You already got done with his feeding? He's good? How's his mosquito bite?
Fine. Didn't even see it.
Will you throw stuff in the wash?
Not yet. I'm waiting until you're done with it.
Oh, yeah. So what do we think about this? Did you guys read about the company that wants to be the sailor for Ether and buying? I heard a little bit about it, and it makes you wonder when you're looking at these Ethereum charts, because Ethereum looks to have an inevitable move up to the golden pocket if this plays out. And I know the 30-minute came down, which it might had to come down here. It might just do that to validate the move, right, where the recross happened. But if it breaks out of here, there's the inevitable golden pocket. That's up here at like 3,100, I think it is. 3,123 or something. So inevitably, Ethereum, man, it's so... If I seen this normally and didn't... I would say Ethereum is in the accumulation stage big time, because I marked off 5 different spots of accumulation, which also coincides with an inverse pattern setup. And there's still the one more expansion zone that it could expand into here somewhere, or even down here where it could be one more big buy area. But it looks like it's getting into that area where we're starting to talk about expansion. And that's the thing, Dennis. What you just said is what I'm thinking. It could be setting the stage with these wallets coming offline. Artificially, people are going to start dumping, but I think it sets the stage for that pump that looks like it's setting up with these inverse setups. But when you set the stage for a big final pump, was that TV? What was that? Sounded like he dumped one of his toys out. Oh, he's in the kitchen. What is it? Maybe I could see that. Florida attorney. Unfortunately, got some golden pocket, but he had to give away some of the golden pocket as well. So, that's the untold part of the story. No, he might have you might have a new golden pocket because you have a lot more. Well, we're not gonna get there. Something is brewing, Dennis, but we aren't in the know to know. Exactly. We are not in the know to know, so we have to pick up the breadcrumbs. I think the breadcrumbs are kind of telling us this. I really do.
One clean sponge.
He's got it. That's fine.
A clean one.
That's fine. You see.
Where the soap is.
The one that got delivered yesterday.
No.
Yeah, there's a package.
One.
Oh, I got a package that if you want to give them, there were 7-Eleven ones instead. But I think we got something brewing here with IOTA. I think we'll have something brewing possibly. I do. I don't know what everybody's risk tolerance and things like that is, but like we're talking like right now with IOTA, I'm sitting at it, and it's a healthy position. It's a healthy position. But I'm gonna go here. I gotta go. Obviously, you guys heard my son. Julie's out here. We got stuff we're gonna be doing today with going to my dad's house and such. But you'll be hearing me a lot more from his office, which will be a nice thing. JBHK says, my sleep paralysis works different, my friend. At my age, my body wakes up at 6:30 and my brain wakes up around dinner time. Touche. Half the time when I'm walking to the gym, my body's ahead of my head. Or my head's like, hey, we're walking, but I'm like in this, But I'm about to be, I'll be 42 in this. I've been calling myself 42 all year, so whenever I say 41, I'm like, man, that feels young. I know I'm like 42. I know it sounds stupid, but you trick yourself. You trick yourself. My hair now officially, guys, is 2 years without a haircut. By the way, I'm pretty sure it was the day after 4th of July, Julie, when I hurt my hands, I had you do the big cut. Yeah. Because 5 days later, 6 days later was T's 3rd birthday, or 4th birthday party, wasn't it? So, yeah, 2 full years. Let's see. Fantastic live, Tom. Great vibes and knowledge today. Thank you so much for that. Like I said a few lives ago, it's got to be a better vibe. Because then we can think together. And if you want to know more, go to the Telegram. Trade on BitUnix. I'm telling you, it's a life-changing experience for me since late 23. I started talking to the audience about it in early 24 because I had to vet it a little bit. Because at first, I'm like, there's no way this can be true. Like, how can all of this be true? Like, how is it so cheap here while it's so... So it's like a revolutionary thing for me. So make sure you pay attention to BitUnix. If I ever do a copy trading thing, it'll be on BitUnix. But if I do the copy trading, I think it'll be from a spot perspective. I think a spot, like, if I was asking all of you that are here, is if there's anybody on BitUnix that are in the Telegram, would you say that you'd be comfortable spot trading the copy trading? Because on BitUnix, it lets you copy trade through spot now, I believe. Let me check it. Even if not, we could do it from a 1x, but for some reason, I think BitUnix upgraded it to where you can copy trade through spot, and that's why I was like, holy crap, that's a good idea. Like, spot's a lot different than doing it through a, you know, generic avenue. Let me see if they do spot now. And they'll let me. All I have to do is sign up, and they'll let me because of my history. I have a nice PNL on BitUnix, and as long as you have a good PNL, they don't second guess you about being copy traders. If you have a bad PNL or you're not making a lot of, you know, they might not. Minimum copy trade order, I'm gonna put it at $100. So just so it keeps the small, you know, this isn't going to be anybody's trading with me right now. I'm just trying to see how this sets it up. Max lead amount, $50,000, we'll say. Oh, how about this? 20,000. All right. So I want to see if I were to do a trade, if it lets you do spot now. Trade. I don't know. I might make you do it through the copy trading spot trades. So I don't. We'll have to talk about this farther because I don't necessarily like the fact that it makes you do it like that. That's okay. We'll talk about this more in the Telegram if I think about doing this farther. It'll always stay private, so you'd have to probably be in the Telegram to join it, if anything. But yeah, I'm doing market research. But yeah, have a good one.